So we looked at the report. We saw that CIS 1 and CIS 2 had different we had different scores because, of course, we're scoring the same system with a more stringent rule set, right? So that was a good example to show, yes, in fact, CIS 1 and 2 are different, and you can scan for either of them. Now, the moment I think everybody's been waiting for is, okay, great, I have a report. What do I do with it? And I think you've got queued up the command right there. We're going to apply, what is that, CIS 1?
It is CIS Level 1. This standard that everybody, quote unquote, should be running according to CIS, as we're level 2, is the more hardened. So the cool part is, let's go ahead and hit enter on this. It's not going to take that long for it to go through and run. It'll go through and tell you what passed, what failed. And then the new thing that you're going to see on screen is it's going to say fixed or fixing when it comes to certain items here that weren't enforced before.
Right. And again, this is something you could do with the Insights Compliance tool. Once you have a rule set defined, applied, and you got your report, you can also remediate from Insights. So you don't have to do it at a command line like this if you're an Insights user.
If you're an Insights user, and then I believe you also need RHC installed, which is the system role.
Yeah, you'd have to have remote execution or remote commands or whatever we call it set up so that you can actually remediate from Insights.
Absolutely. Eric has a great point. Insights and Satellite are great solutions. We can on screen, it says starting remediation. So
here's the fun part, all the yellow fixed.
Absolutely. The first thing is installing AIDE, which is the ability to find a snapshot of your system. Did anything change on this? AIDE is amazing when it comes to turning it on and turning up the logging level. You can see if there's a new file created, modified, changed. It's amazing.
AIDE, if I remember correctly, that'll do checksums, or am I thinking of FA Policy D? One of them will do checksums that'll make sure that the executable matches the checksum it got from RPM when it was installed or from DNF.
Correct.
I think that's FA Policy D.
The Advanced Intrusion Detection Environment is what AIDE stands for.
Right.
So it does that file integrity checking. So it's comparable. You'll have multiple algorithms that'll go through and check, like MD5, SHA-1, 256, etc. And then it'll report to say, hey, what has changed between last time you scanned and now? Or if you've set that up on a cron job.
Yeah, yeah. There's a cool feature in RHEL 9 called Remote Attestation, which uses KeyLime, which leverages both AIDE and FA Policy D to let you do that checksum verification from a remote centrally managed system, right?
Ooh,
so it's really cool, again, for those endpoint systems that are out in the wild that maybe you can't easily get to verify, right? KeyLime will, report back to a centralized server and say, hey, this system, it doesn't look like the day you installed it. Maybe you want to check into that. So
awesome.
Cool feature of RHEL 9.
Looking forward to playing more with that here in the future, because there's more getting integrated with KeyLime that I'm excited about.
Cool.
We're at the tail end, almost wrapping this up.
Through this run, and we're going to do another scan, right, to see, hey, how do we...
What we're going to do is what are our results now, and then we'll look at that report, and that pretty much wraps. So on screen, I'm exporting the results real quick to a readable format. So we'll give it a second here. So scrolling on down to after we've gone through and remediated for level 1, we're now at 98.02%. A lot more than work.
Josh, why isn't it 100? We just applied all the stuff.
We did, but like I said before, we have to be able to scope what things are in our risk environment. Maybe like there was one that did not go through and pass, like going through and setting a password for grub. You probably want to go through and customize that password instead of going through and just trusting the script to go do it for you.
Yeah, there's certain rules, and this gets more and more true as you get into the more hardened rule sets. There's certain rules that are difficult to automatically apply, right? Maybe it could automatically apply them, but the example I use is some rule sets require that /temp is a separate file system. How do you do that through automation without asking the administrator, what space would you like me to use to allocate to temp, right? It's hard to automate that. Now, at image build time, you can automate that.
Exactly.
For systems deployed, that could cause problems if it tried automatically. There are some exceptions if you're applying these rules to a system that already exists. That's a whole other conversation.
It's a deep dive.
If you're walking into a job as a security person or a systems administrator and you've been asked to get your systems into compliance, blindly running OpenSCAP against all your production systems is probably a bad idea, right?
100%.
You're going to want to scan them. You're going to want to see what's acceptable. You're going to see what's reasonable to change. You're going to want to change those things and then maybe make standards for the next build, for example. that you
Absolutely.
can apply a more hardened rule set. So, these are conversations you're going to have with whoever asked you to harden the systems. Like, yeah, I could totally do that, but it's going to take this much downtime to make that happen. And then they have to accept that, right? So, all
So
conversations that you're going to have.
to Billy's point, yeah, he's saying that Ansible can't fix everything. Some policy based, some are process, and people. You're absolutely right. My notes were
Yes.
procedures, policies, and risk management are all part of this conversation that you have to have from the start. Just running the CIS benchmark doesn't make you secure. It's going through and giving you a step in the right direction, but you have to have
Right.
that conversation with your security organization.